The White House is walking back statements that it made about Iran's nuclear program. It has to do with the tense of a verb. It's been a very intense few hours. It all starts here. Now, in a nationally televised address, Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel recently uncovered 55,000 documents and 183 CDs of information from Iran's nuclear archive. Just the idea that it would imply what's happening now in Iran and it was on CDs is a big question. He said there was half a ton of material, including information about a Project Ahmad that was the code name for a nuclear weapons project. What's the importance of this? Well, when we signed the deal with Iran, Iran denied ever pursuing nuclear weapons. This seems to imply that Iran was pursuing nuclear weapons despite what they said. Now, right after that revelation of information was made by Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump praised the presentation that Benjamin made, or at least the part of it that he saw, which was amazing. He said he's 100% right about Iran. Iran's state-run media had a response saying Netanyahu is famous for ridiculous shows. The semi-official Fars news agency, believed to be close to the Revolutionary Guard, dismissed Netanyahu's speech as a propaganda show. The implication that Benjamin Netanyahu is famous for, large displays like this. I have proof that that is true at the UN. I don't know if you remember this. This is one of my favorite things. I did a segment at the time that was like this. The next one was how mad he'd be if Iran actually got a bomb, and it was just Yosemite Sam. Anyway, so that's what happened. Someone from the EU, Federica Mogherini, said late Monday in her first reaction that what I have seen from the first reports is that the Prime Minister Netanyahu has not put into question Iran's compliance of the deal. The question being despite what they did before the deal was signed, are they complying now? The EU's foreign affairs chief, who you just saw the quote from, sees no exact reason to question that. Afterwards, after all that, Sarah Huckabee Sanders released a statement to the press, and it said this: "These facts are consistent with what the United States has long known. Iran has a robust clandestine nuclear weapons program that it has tried and failed to hide from the world and from its own people." But people pointed out the documents that we saw from Iran were from before the nuclear deal took place. How can you say that it proves that currently Iran has a nuclear program, especially because the IAEA and various other agencies that are tasked with checking to see if they're in compliance with the nuclear deal, those folks all seem to say, no, they don't have a nuclear deal now. And so the walking back is, the White House is quietly walking back, according to the Associated Press, a charge that Iran maintains an active nuclear weapons program, saying it really meant that Iran had one before the 2015 nuclear agreement. They said it was a grammatical error. What's going on?
What's going on is the usual suspects trying to foment more war and instability in the Middle East. So yes, this is exactly what happened, right? So Netanyahu takes documents that predate the negotiation of the Iran deal and then uses that as some sort of Trojan horse, if you will, to say, see, Iranians, can't trust them, they're bad people. But I would argue, and I think the Europeans are arguing, well, that's exactly why we need a deal.
Right.
Because the Iranians are trying to get to a nuclear arms program. So to stave that off, we want to have a deal in place so that they don't get there.
Yeah, listen, as an Iranian, I've got to say, never do business with an Iranian, they'll screw you. But anyway, never buy a rug from an Iranian. I'm still paying, it was too expensive. Anyway, no.
As a Jew, I'll say, take that up with the Anti-Defamation League.
Listen, I'll tell you a couple of things. You brought up a couple of great points. First of all, the fact that it was on CDs is I didn't even think about that. It was like, we found 8-track tapes. Secondly, yeah, you can't just make a statement and then go, oh, grammatical error.
So crazy.
Come on, man, take responsibility. You can't be like, there was no collusion. Wait, grammatical error. There was collusion. We put in a no. And Bibi, first of all, again with Bibi and the and
the bomb.
the presentation.
The hand-drawn bomb.
I wonder if he's got like a kid that's just like, you know what I'm saying? He's got some kid who's like a graphic designer no one will hire. He'll be like, you will design the bomb for me, and then we're gonna put the thing, and I will make a presentation, and Trump will be scared. You know, this Iran nuclear deal. I came to America late '70s, landed here, and right away the hostage crisis happened. So Iranians have had in America we've had a lot of trouble with because at the same time, a lot of Iranians, myself included, don't like the leadership in Iran. We're opposed to the regime in Iran. Now, where the divide comes is there's some Iranians in America who go, we want America to attack Iran and somehow get rid of the mullahs and make Iran free and bring back, the great Iran that we all know. Now, I don't know how you go to war with Iran in a surgical way where you only get rid of the mullahs and not kill hundreds of thousands, if not millions of innocent Iranians. So then there's the other side, which is the side that wants to try diplomacy. And we tried for 40 years. We tried the fighting each other. And with this Iran nuclear deal, I felt it was the first time we're giving diplomacy a chance. And the strategy with the diplomacy is, let's do the diplomacy so that the Iranian hardliners can't point at America and go, look, they're who's holding us back.
Right.
And we saw that in the end of the year with the protests that were happening. A lot of those protests were for economic reasons. So if you are able to get rid of America as the great Satan, and Iran has to look inside and go, wait a minute, we're just mismanaging our economy. We are stealing from our people, the leadership. Then hopefully within Iran there'll be a revolt, or slowly there'll be, I should say, an evolution, not a revolution. More people would die. Anyway, long story short, in my opinion, this is just I don't know. Trump has not proposed any better options in his talk. He just goes, it's a bad deal, bad deal, bad deal. I'm the art of the deal guy.
Yeah, right.
So Maz, I totally agree with you. Nothing benefits the Iranian hardliners more than the great Satan USA and the other smaller Satan Israel teaming up against them, right? That totally consolidates their power. So we're doing a great disservice to Iranian people who want a new leadership. Secondly, this is the same playbook that we used to go to war in Iraq.
Yeah.
So we dug up old misdeeds or old horrors of Saddam Hussein. He gassed his own people. Yeah, he did in the 80s with our assistance when he was on our side against the Iranians, right? So and then we have Netanyahu making a comment that to me was very reminiscent of Rumsfeld. Bibi says he has. What did he say? 100% proof or whatever it was?
Trump said that it's 100% right. They're basically saying, listen, Iran lied going into the deal, saying, listen, we'll do this deal, but we never had plans for a nuclear weapon. That's our bargaining position. And now they're saying, well, they lied about that. What else are they lying about?
And Rumsfeld's the one who said, oh, the WMDs, we know for sure that they're somewhere east, west, north or south of Tikrit. Right? Yeah, and of course they're nowhere to be found.
And let's not kid ourselves. First of all, you're right. It's the same playbook and some of the same players. John Bolton is now back in the game.
Crazy.
How does that guy even come back? Like, how does that guy even have the gall to show his face?
Every single person associated with the Iraq war should be, at a minimum, deeply ashamed and cast off of our airwaves and out of our politics forever.
Absolutely.
Right, forever.
And you mentioned the Benghazi investigation earlier. I would say if you're going to go after Hillary for Benghazi, how about going after Bush and Cheney and everybody else for Iraq, the hundreds of thousands of people that have died there. But regardless, you're right. It's so crazy how we just keep falling for this thing of, okay, because all it's going to take right now is one. I was just watching that. I just started watching the Looming Tower, and it's all about the lead up to September 11th. And I was telling my wife, I go, you know what? If there's one attack somewhere, whether it's a terrorist attack or if Iran does something or somewhere that gives this guy ammunition to take us into a war, everyone's going to be like, oh, we got to be patriotic, go war. And they're setting Iran up as that right now.
We know that for a fact because there's this great video of General Wesley Clark who talks about, this is in 2004, 2005, about the plan that he saw at the Pentagon about how they're going to start with Iraq, do Libya, Syria, a bunch of other countries, and with Iran.
Yeah.
Like that's the goal of toppling countries that we don't like and installing our own puppet government. It's a real problem. I mean, he lays it out, and it's going down that path.
I see Benjamin Netanyahu's incentives to keep his position is to be very strong with Iran, to play the hold me back kind of person, as Donald Trump is the one who is the deal maker, who on May 12th has the option to renew I think it's May 12th, renew the deal with Iran or to pull out of it. And now you see Trump as the deal maker. He's kind of looked at every possible deal America's ever had and said, all right, steel, Iran, North Korea, it's been stupid. That's like his basic move. Now with the steel negotiations, he hasn't actually implemented them. He has used them to get certain concessions, at least it's been reported, like, basic premises of deals, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
The problem with this Iran deal also is this. The sanctions only work if there is full agreement among the parties that are gonna install the sanctions. So we need all of our allies to agree to do the sanctions. Otherwise, it's pointless. We're just hurting ourselves. So if we get rid of this deal and there's no sanctions in place, Iran is now free to pursue their nuclear ambitions, whatever that may be, we're far worse off than we are under the current deal. So unless Trump and Bibi have a replacement deal in place that they could reasonably assure the world community that the Iranians are going to also accept, just dismantling the existing deal is stupid.
Right. Yeah,
it's crazy.
And first of all, I've heard a few people talk about how it's so intricate that it's not like you can go in there, it's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not a la carte kind of a situation where you're like, I'll take the dumplings. Can I return the dumplings? I'm gonna take the spring roll.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Hold the plutonium.
You hold the plutonium. But listen, there is no doubt that the regime, the Iranian regime, I'm sure they're not honest. They embezzle a lot of money. There's a lot of human rights violations. They are not good people either.
Right.
But that said, they're bad actors. But that said, this is currently, in my opinion, the best position we have to move forward. Because if you bring them into the world conversation, eventually the people in Iran, if they demand more freedoms, they already are. The women in Iran are taking off the hijab, videotaping themselves, and protesting against this government. And part of that is the internet. The more they see the freedoms in the rest of the world, the more they want their freedoms. So the more we bring Iran into the world conversation, the harder it is for them to maintain their hard line, to maintain their oppression of their own people. And so I personally, as an Iranian, want more freedoms. I want change in Iran, but I don't want war with Iran, and I'm afraid that that's what Bibi is pushing for.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.